Good morning, stalwart New Englanders. You braved the cold. Good job, good job. And now we are with one another, summoning what is sacred within us, gathering strength, extending story, finding life in each moment. May we embrace this new day as a gift for learning, for growing, for giving, for wonder. May we open ourselves and our senses to that which is before us and find within it all the ingredients needed for sustenance and joy. It's good to be together. Let's sing hymn number 86, Blessed Spirit of My Life, in the gray hymnal. Please rise as you are able in body and or spirit.
Good morning. My name is Elise Henricks, and I am a member of our worship committee. Welcome to First Parish in Milton. Can everyone hear okay? Tom, the Reverend Lisa mic might need to go up a little bit. Sophia, if you're on Zoom and you can't hear us, can you please message us in the chat function so that we can adjust the sound? We're so glad that you've chosen to be here with us this morning or to join us virtually. However your journey, whatever your heritage, and whomever you love, you are welcome here. Maybe down a little bit. Your presence here on Sunday morning enriches worship for everyone. This sanctuary is made holy by your presence. If you're joining us for the first time, a special welcome, especially for making it out on a cold Sunday. You'll find information about us and First Parish in your pew, and I would be happy to answer any questions you might have or any of the greeters. I think Andrea Galing is one of them back there. Any of us would welcome the opportunity to walk with you to social hour after the service. The work of our faith is done both in and out of worship, so you can see the announcements that are printed in your order of worship and found in the emailed link. There's a couple of things of note. First of all, something that didn't make it into the link is that the RE committee is hosting a Valentine making party on Saturday, February 8th, so that's next Saturday from 5 to 7. First Parish Young at Heart families and friends are invited to come and make Valentines together in the social hall. There'll be lots of crafting supplies to make your own Valentines to take home and share. Pizza and drinks will be available, and we hope you'll stop by and join us for whatever time you can. Secondly, you may have started receiving some information about the annual budget drive, which began as of last Sunday and will finish in March 16th. So basically, pay attention to that email. Try to get back to folks as soon as possible because it makes life easier for the stewardship team the sooner everyone responds. So thank you. And lastly, don't forget, next weekend is the chocolate auction happening right after church. It's an all-church event and in memory of Chris and with existing still Dottie Pitt. And this year the funds will be raised to spruce up the front of church in the narthex. So please come and support this great event. All ages are welcome and childcare will be available. Now let's take a few minutes to greet one another and extend a warm welcome to old friends and new. If you're on Zoom, please turn on your video and go to gallery view so everyone can say hello. Oh, I forgot to. Yeah, I will. I can do it right after this. Yeah.
Hello, good morning. Hey there, good morning.
Hi.
Everybody?
Hi. Hi.
Hi. Hey, Cynthia.
Hi, Tony. Isn't it wonderful we can go to church and be at home at the same time?
Hi, everybody.
Hi,
Hi,
baby.
baby.
Agreed.
Miss being at church, but at least had to be there to worship assist and be there an hour early. So a little too cold to ride my bike today.
About to say it's a little chilly.
Yeah.
Deborah. Hi, Deborah. I don't think I know you, but nice to
I'm
meet
fairly
you.
new. I just found the church 3 weeks ago,
Oh,
and I was there twice in person, and now I have car issues, so I'm, yeah, thankfully I'm able to join via Zoom.
were you there during the music
Mohammed
Sunday?
on the piano, and Pedro Secco, who's
Steve
joining
was
us
part of
on
that.
guitar. So thank you for being
I
here.
don't know. There was a man with a native looking flute. That was my first time there.
Now is the moment
I met
when we can
Phoebe.
focus on being here.
Hi, hello.
When we can choose to
And I
connect with
see you're starting
ourselves
something
Nice
and
to
the
new.
meet you.
divine.
I am.
When we can choose to just be present. Flame of our faith, call us into the community of love and justice this morning, when we need it more than ever, and every morning. Now, please join me in the call to worship, which is printed on the laminated card in your pew. Number 1. Come, let us gather. We gather to celebrate the sacred within and among us. We come to seek spiritual growth and understanding. We strive to practice acceptance, forgiveness, and love. Together, we work to build a world with justice and compassion. Come, let us gather together.
How's this volume? Is this good? Good volume? Yes, yes? Okay, good. So, hello, good morning. Does anybody know what this means? Time out. And what does time out mean? Anybody have an idea? Stop what? Stop the action. Stop what you're doing, right? And does that work sometimes? What do you think? When you have a timeout, because you're all involved in one thing and someone says, stop, and you wait and you see what else might happen. Or you feel punished and you go to a corner and it doesn't feel good. But it usually means that something shifts because they're saying, take a pause, right? There's lots of different ways that we can take a pause. There's one game called freeze tag. Of course, most of us who's played freeze tag here before. And that's kind of playing with pause. So I'm going to move a little bit, and then I'm going to ask Grace at some point to say freeze. So when I freeze, what I can do is think about the shape of my body, just really spend a moment just thinking about the shape that I've made. And I can also think about the shape of the space around me, how I've changed the space around me. And then maybe even how it relates, I don't know, to the windows or to Pedro, right? You could take a moment to just have this different way of being. So I'm going to ask you for a minute, if everybody that would be willing to, just move a little. And when I say freeze, freeze. Just move however you want to move. Just move. Freeze. Think about how your body is shaped, what you're doing to the space around you, how it feels with the other shapes in the room. Let's try it again. Freeze. Again, all the different ways that we can be in space. Thank you very much. And pause will help us do that, right? And then there's lots of different ways that we pause religiously. Does anybody have an idea what that might be called? We have not a lot of people in the wiggle pew today, but anybody can help. What would a pause in spiritual religious traditions be? Retreat. People take a retreat. I'm sorry, what? Prayer is a pause. Meditation is a pause. All of these things are ways to stop, to look, to listen, and to notice. And in the noticing, you may not know what new information just came in, but some new information did. So a lot of times we can live, stop, notice, and then move on, and something that happened is then a part of us. So when we meditate, we try to say, nothing is happening right now except who we are in this place, in this time, in this space. Now, why do we want to do that? Why do you think we want to do that? What's the point? To reset. Right. Do we sometimes get so riled up in some sort of an emotion, right? That we need to stop ourselves and know that there is more than what we just felt, more than what we've just done, more possibility in our lives. And we sometimes forget that. So that's why when you're told to have a timeout because you want that thing that you're not supposed to have right now, there's more to life than getting that thing that you just want right now. There's more to being in relationship than demanding that thing. So that's kind of what we're talking about today. We're calling it a sustaining pause. So let's sing, children, to their classrooms.
Our reading today is a poem by Mary de la Valette. I do not have to go to sacred places in far-off lands. The ground I stand on is holy. Here in this little garden I tend, my pilgrimage ends. The wild honeybees, the hummingbird moths, the flickering fireflies at dusk are a microcosm of the universe. Each seed that grows, each spade of soil is full of miracles. And I toil and sweat and watch and wonder and am full of love, living in this place, for truth and beauty dwell here.
So actually, I don't think Elise meant it, but that was a perfect switch of the order. Because what we'll do now is we'll do some stillness, and then we'll go right into meditation on breathing. So Armand, can we teach meditation on breathing for a minute, and then we'll do some stillness, chime the chime, and we'll go right into it. Most of you know this. I just wanted to talk through. It's 3 parts. Yeah. Can you hear it now? Can you hear it now? Okay. So what we will do is we're going to do 3 parts. The first, we're going to start with the bass this time. So you want to give the, and it's just breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, nice, breathe out. And that one we will start, we'll go through it once. And then we'll add the melody, and some people please stay in the breathe. We need some people to be the bass, to stay, to be the foundation. Just keep with breathe in throughout the whole thing. And you can just choose. And then when I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. Okay, yeah, so I guess we decided to do each one twice, right? Okay, and then the last one is a descant, so some folk that might want to do that, we need some people to stay on that melody. So it's all going to work, I promise you. So the last part is, there's a quick rest, and then it's, when I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I will breathe out love. Good. So let's get ourselves settled into some silence together, and then when I do the chime, Armand will give us some introduction, and we'll start with the bass. Please settle in with your breath, your body. Loosen your jaw, your shoulders, and nourish yourself with breath. For truth and beauty dwell here, poet Mary de la Valette reminds us. The here she speaks of is not just the location where she is, it is the here of the presence of life. She speaks of a moment's awareness of beauty and truth, which ever dwells everywhere. We can feel that presence when we open ourselves to a larger life expressed in infinite ways. We can feel that presence when we pause out of our limited self-definitions into shared being. Truth and beauty dwells there. In mystical traditions throughout history, it is an awareness of here and now, of being awake, of union with the cosmos, of God with us, that brings an assurance of the beauty of life. It's not something that most of us sustain for long, but once it is experienced, we've tapped into a knowing within that can guide our choices and heal our brokenness. That knowing within is not interested in our scheming or striving. It's not interested in our pursuit toward worthiness or usefulness. The awareness comes in our authentic engagement with the life we are given, the mysterious presence of being ever here. That awareness then guides us to find balance and generative life. This kind of pause of here is what is commonly known as mindfulness, giving full attention to what is before us and within us. It can be a sustaining pause in the energy-draining busyness of our lives. One of the hardest things to do when we pause is to truly take our whole selves into the moment. Most of us, in fact, spend a great deal of energy avoiding coming to truly know ourselves. We set up elaborate systems of denial and avoidance, of struggling to feel worthy or useful, that take all of our focus to maintain. For when we welcome whatever is in and about us, we encounter not only what we have long wanted to embrace, but all the other things that we've been hiding from ourselves. And we have a knack, we humans, in dwelling on the negative, the not good enough parts, giving them more value than our natural beauty, our natural worth. That's why a culture of busyness lures us in. For if we slow down, we just might feel something or discover something that we've been denying or avoiding. We may find hurts and disappointments, regrets and longing that ache if we pause and witness our lives. There's also the worry of missing something. There's even a common acronym now, FOMO, probably most of you know it, fear of missing out, which is part of the reason many spend countless hours on social media to stay in the know, to not be left out. It is also said that many people are even avoiding going to the bathroom for fear of missing out. This is particularly a difficult habit to break in the teen years. An article was shared in the e-newsletter Milton Seen this week that points to another social media phenomenon that affects us all. The title is, "Why Are You Participating in Hateful Conversations on Social Media? Could be the dopamine." The need for drama, for excitement, for conquering a problem can become an addiction, a physical addiction. The article cites Anna Lembke, author of Dopamine Nation, Finding Balance in the Age of Indulgence. She speaks of how feel-good substances and behaviors increase dopamine release in the brain's reward pathways. And feel-good refers to an elevation of emotion, not necessarily good or bad, just a reaction. Even just commenting or liking comments on hateful posts releases dopamine effectively, giving you what feels like a hit of a drug. And according to Lemke, right after you get that rush of dopamine, the brain responds to this increase by decreasing dopamine transmission, not just back down to its natural baseline rate, but below the baseline, so you need more and more encounters to get the same place of pleasure. Here's a scenario shared in the article. You look at a hateful post in a Facebook group. You comment. You feel a little better, maybe even a little bit vindicated. You fought for something important, something you believe in. You might even feel a little rush of excitement. You take a break, get back to work. 2 minutes go by. 3. You go check the post. Any comments? Oh, there's one. It's someone disagreeing with you. You'll show them. You comment again. You feel better. You're arguing for the right thing. You're doing your part. Okay, time to get back to work. Your kids, your family. You wait 10 excruciating minutes. You check the post again, and the cycle continues. You satiate yourself with periodic hits of a drug, all while patting yourself on the back for standing up for your values. And here's where algorithms set in. The content is not as important as the amount of time the content is being paid attention to. So it comes up more and more in your social media feed. Try this hit of dopamine. And how about this one? In other words, the article points out, engaging in negative conversations on social media provides dopamine hits, creating a cycle of addiction that keeps you coming back for more. Worse, your participation boosts the visibility of these posts, helping social media algorithms spread negativity even further. So the article in this e-newsletter is an attempt to say, pause. Take note of what you're doing, what habits you are forming. It's hard to pull away from our routines and our habits of mind. It's hard to see what we need when we're pursuing what we think we must do. It's hard to let go of feeling behind or unfinished or unworthy. It's hard to pull ourselves away for a sustaining pause, to allow our souls to catch up. Nature gives us clues on how to live fully. In every cycle of life, there needs to be time to rest, time for renewal, time for regeneration, time for fallow ground. The winter beckons our slowing down. The snow blankets the verdant fields for a time. The silence of diminished life models the wisdom to pause. The longer nights call for a time to rest. Animals hibernate to regroup and recharge. The inner urging to regroup and restore one's energy for life is our soul's longing for attention to our being. Life is only as wide and as deep as our souls are, writes Joan Chittister. Soul is that extra something we bring to life that gives us the capacity to appreciate it. When we become expert at diverting the stirrings within that speak to spiritual sustenance, we respond more and more to externals, which allow others to define us and prioritize our lives. If this goes too long, we eventually lose the ability to recognize ourselves. We then become susceptible to fading into the woodwork or the day-to-day routines, easily distracted, seasoned for manipulation, and less able to make decisions about ourselves without depending on the opinions of others. We're being given a huge lesson these days in diversions and distractions and stimulating fear that creates hypervigilance and feeling lost. We become reactive, too distracted to initiate something on our own. Though these times are a very clear example of this way of being, this is not new. Rituals to pause through prayer or meditation are as ancient as our species in relating to our world. That's one reason Sabbath became a practice in several faith traditions, a practice of nourishing stillness. The need to do this on a regular basis. Jewish mystic Abraham Heschel writes, "In a tempestuous ocean of time and toil, there are islands of stillness where one may enter a harbor and reclaim one's dignity. 6 days a week we live under the tyranny of things," he continues. "On the Sabbath, we try to become attuned to holiness in time. It's a day on which we are called upon to turn from the results of creation to the mystery of creation, from the world of creation to the creation of the world." We humans tend to get caught up in our schemes and projects and competitions and comparisons. We forget about the gift of our lives and our call to take care of the earth and each other. In 1990, at the United Nations Environmental Sabbath, there was a beautiful call to rethink this strategy of living. It goes, "We who have lost our sense and our senses, our touch, our smell, our vision of who we frantically force and press all things, without rest for body or spirit, hurting our earth and injuring ourselves, we call a halt." The call to prayer continues. We want to rest. We need to rest and allow the earth to rest. We need to reflect and to rediscover the mystery that lives in us, that is the ground of every unique expression of life, the source of the fascination that calls all things to communion. "We declare a Sabbath," it read, "a space of quiet for simply being and letting be, for recovering the great forgotten truths, for learning how to live again." Most of us cannot remove ourselves completely from the doing of our days, but we can find ways to give glimpses to that process, which will happen at the slightest invitation. The soul is ever ready for our attention and replenishes us when we brave the moments of stillness and mystery, the moments when we set aside our busyness and defer the need to control the future or justify the past. We may not need a result or noticeable change we may not feel a result or noticeable change after a sustaining pause, but the nourishing is happening. In these next winter months, why don't you try it? I urge you to carve out some time for yourself. 15 minutes a week, if that's all you can fathom, or maybe even 5 minutes a day, if that's all you can fathom at first. When it becomes a practice, these times of pause will most likely expand. A way will open. A busy family can help each other with this. Loved ones can support each other by making room for your pause, covering what's necessary while you take your time. I urge you to allow for intentional Sabbath or retreat when your being has all your attention in loving embrace. Protect yourself with a routine that gives you a break from the tumult, and know that wisdom within will occasionally astonish you. Not every time, but sooner or later. And usually all that you're worried about will be there when you get back. Take that nourishing time. And when you do this, you will find that you do not have to go to sacred places in far-off lands. The ground on which you stand is holy. So may it be. Amen. Let's sing together hymn number 77 in the gray hymnal, "Seek Not Afar for Beauty." Please rise as you are able, in body and or spirit. Please be seated. Let's join our hearts in the spirit of prayer. Holy One of all being, flowing in rivers and in breath, knowing in laughter and in tears. Come to our awareness. Help us come round to our wise selves. We're being deeply challenged these days with distractions, diversions, hateful acts, violent acts, disrespect. This is not all that we are. Let us find that ease beyond the competitions and comparisons. Let us help one another when we need and ask for help when we need. Let us find the strength within, the grounding within, the ability to find wise companions to help us find our way through in brightness and joy which is ever here. And especially for those who suffered from the awful plane crashes, the 2 plane crashes and helicopter this week. May we hold all the grieving families and loved ones deeply in our hearts. And for all the strife in the world, may we answer with love in our hearts as best we can for each other. And for all the prayers lifted up but unspoken, we lift them up in love. Amen.
Hello, my name's Owen Hartford. I'm doing the faith reflection today. My partner Penny did the faith reflection a couple weeks ago, and she said, you're supposed to do it in 2 or 3 minutes, maybe 4 at the most. And so a couple days ago, I kind of tried out my thing on Penny, and it went for 8 minutes. I guess I had more faith than I realized. And so I'm cutting this down to, and I'm going to concentrate only on my experience growing up as a Unitarian youth and not go beyond that. You'll just have to use your imagination as to what happened after that. So, my parents were both of English backgrounds. In fact, they were, as far as we know, all English on all sides. And sometimes I get a little embarrassed by this in this day when everybody in America just about is a mix of something. But I figured the Unitarians would take me in anyway if they did that. But so when I was very young, they sent me to the local Episcopal church. They didn't go, but they thought, I guess they were trying to anglicize me more than I already was. And so I got baptized and confirmed, and I became an acolyte, and I carried the Bible around and rang the bells and did the whole thing. But when I was around 11 or 12, my father took me to the local, the Unitarian church in San Francisco, where I grew up. And when I first got there, I was a little surprised because all the hymns were the same, except the Unitarians had changed all the words. And it was to a more humanistic kind of thing. And, but more important for me was that I joined the youth group in this church, which was way better than the Episcopal youth group. And in this youth group was the minister's son, who became my best friend, and the minister's daughter, who became my girlfriend. And then I started to hang out at the minister's house, and I really got in thick with the Unitarians early on. And I thought they were a really cool, much more normal family than my own wacky parents. But it turned out not to be the case later on. But in this youth group, I was in school. I was not exactly a loner, but I was kind of the shy type, and I didn't join clubs. And this group was kind of a godsend for me socially, or maybe I should say a humanist send. And because we went around to other churches on Sunday mornings and learned what they were doing, and then we would discuss later in the day what that was all about. We had parties and dances and field trips, and I learned how to talk to girls for the first time. And it was a wonderful experience. It kind of got me out into the world and socializing with people. One of the things that we did was to invite some Mormons to come and talk to us, and we questioned them about why they didn't have black people in their hierarchy. And we protested the House Un-American Activities Committee, which was, this was the McCarthy era in the 50s. And so we thought of ourselves as very independent thinkers. And the minister's son and I, being teenage boys, were very competitive with each other. We played chess and basketball and touch football and all kinds of things. One of the things that we competed at was designing paper airplanes. And we found that one of the best places to test your airplanes was in the church after the service. We'd go up to the choir loft, and we'd throw our papers, and you would win, depending on how many pews the plane went, who was the winner. So if it's not too sacrilegious, I'd like to try to relive that experience this morning. And let's see, I don't know whether I still have it or not, but yeah, no, that wouldn't have made it, I don't think. So just a brief overview of a wonderful experience that I had. It was called LRY, Liberal Religious Youth, as a teenager. But I'd like to conclude with one little incident about today's Unitarian youth. And that is, a few months ago, I was sitting over here next to the kids section, and during the meet and greet section, I leaned over to there was a mother and about a 3-year-old boy, and I said hello to the mother, and she said hello back, and then I said hello to the kid, and he didn't say anything. And then I said, well, would you like to shake hands? And he didn't say anything or do anything, and then he went, and I said, yeah, I could shake hands too. So this is, he's going to grow up to be a good Unitarian independent thinker. Thank you.
I witnessed that plane earlier, and it went a lot more than the first row the other time, so we know it works. Today's offering is dedicated to the services and ministry of First Parish in Milton. To give, please follow the instructions that are printed in your order of worship or shown on the Zoom screen, or if you're in the meeting house, you can also deposit cash or check into the collection plate located at the main entrance at the end of the service. If you are proud of this church, become its advocate. If you care about its future, share its message. We welcome all to build a just and healthy world with faith, love, and compassion. Please support our faith community by giving as generously as you can. Please join me in the unison dedication, which can be found on the laminated card. May these gifts be transformed into strength for this faith community, into comfort, food, and shelter for those in need, and may we be transformed by generosity. Please join me in the doxology.
And as I extinguish the flame of our chalice, may the fire of our faith burn deep and wide within us. May we carry through our days, keeping our soul nourished by our love, by our joy, by our curiosity, by our willingness for the good. Have a good week. Amen.